Alright, today we're going to do a compression test on this motor. You guys know what this is for. Not that I care about this motor or particularly want to save it, but I am curious about it. Let me tell you, number 5 was hard to test with that, with the steering and the way these manifolds are, but I got it. 1, 4, and 8 had a lot of oil on them. That's where I set them down on the paper and moved them, and that's just where they dripped off. But here's the numbers. Nothing to brag about. Yeah, that's part of the reason this underpowered pig runs the way it does. So we varied from 95 to 120. Yeah, what's that, like about a 21% difference between the cylinders? That's unacceptable. I don't know what they were doing with this door originally, but somebody had a little fun cutting on it. Let's see if I can clean it up a little bit. So wouldn't you know, I got safety glasses on and a face shield, and I'll be darned if a hot piece of metal that ricocheted off of the car and then went in my ear. So I'll be putting these on too. It may not look like it, but I did get the 2 holes cleaned up a little better than they were looking. Got some stuff out. Alright, they did the same thing on the passenger door, so see if I can clean this up some. Alright, passenger door looks better. Our pile's getting bigger. A little update. You know, I've had wiring issues with this car since day one, and I never could understand because the guys that I got it from put all kind of new wiring in the car. With all that new wiring that they put in, that was the last thing I would think that would be a cause of any kind of electrical issues in here. And I mean, even putting wires together and putting nice heat shrink around where they put them together and everything, I'll be darned if I didn't find several of them that where they put them together right there was the problems I was having with some of the lights and stuff. This last time I went through and took apart all the connections they made and put new butt splices in. Still, I had no front right turn signal, and so I gave up and decided to pull out all the wire. I mean, this stuff is new, looks like there's nothing wrong with it. I put some wire in that I knew was good, and guess what? Works fine. I swear it's all the little things that's going to frustrate me to death with this car. So, I think I've got the gas gauge problem narrowed down to the actual gauge itself is bad. And my only other issue is my right rear turn signal flashes a little bit slower and it's dimmer. But when I put the 4-way flashers on, it's just as bright and works completely normal. So I guess I'm going to pull out the wiring from under the dash all the way to back there and replace it too, because I fixed the butt splices. I cut out what they had and redid that, and still an issue. So now that I saw that happen with the wiring to the front, I guess that's what I'm going to do, is just do the back too. Here's an example. See how that one's flashing, brightness, everything's normal. That one, dimmer and slower. And the other weird part is, you don't hear that side, you don't hear the flasher clicking. But you can hear it clicking there. And I put in 2 new flashers because before you couldn't even, it didn't even click at all, even though it was working. So that didn't change anything. Another thing that just tickled me to death is one of the new pieces of wiring harness that they put in was I want to say it was a 6-wire from under the dash all the way to the back, and instead of just leaving the wire there that they didn't need, the ones that they didn't use, they'd cut off real short, and one of them was even spliced together in the middle. I don't know if they must have pinched it and broke it and had to redo it, but it's a disaster. Well, I got the turn signal issue squared away now. Here's some more of this fine put together wire. Nice heat shrink on it and everything. Well, that's the way this one was done. So I cut it in half and just temporarily twisted it together, and now that taillight, the turn signal works just like it's supposed to, and you can even hear it clicking under the dash like this side. So poor connection, once again making me beat my head against the wall. All this wiring, golly. Here's another prime example. In this short distance of wire it's put together 3 times. What's the point of that? And look at this. It doesn't exactly feel great. I don't know what's under this heat shrink of how they put them together, but don't ever do this. Okay, so I cut out that section I was showing you. I wasn't having any more problems, but I figured I'd get rid of that before it ended up being a problem, and I just had to know, so I stripped the heat shrink back, and apparently they twisted all of them together and put a little bit of solder on them, which, as long as it's done right, should work great. But apparently those other ones didn't make such a good connection. Well, after a whole bunch of more issues with the turn signal, wouldn't work when the headlights were on. For all you people that aren't old enough to know any better, this is how you activate your bright lights in an old car. Well, that's what was acting up and causing the short this last time. It's one thing after another. Well, today's project in the 55 is getting the new gas gauge in and wired up. Couldn't fit more perfect than that stock hole. I think I ordered a 2 1/4 inch gauge, and I'm going to run a new wire from the gauge all the way back to the sending unit, just to make sure that's not messed up, since most of the rest of the wiring in this car is so jacked up. Wiring's in, gauge is in, almost done. Well, that was a long one, but I finally got it all done. They had the power wire for the gas gauge on 12 volt all the time, not 12 volt ignition on, so I had to find a new wire to run it. Alright, starter's giving me fits, so I'm putting a mini starter on there. Well, after literally doing more wiring, replacing more wiring that they had in here that was messed up, now everything works, doesn't it, Amber?
Yeah.
We got lights everywhere, all the turn signals, brake lights, all the gauges light up, the new gas gauge works, tack light works. We're in business, aren't we?
Oh yeah. Seriously?
We're done with the starter. Let's fire it up. Stop. Turn it off. Turn it off. Okay, so that was pretty funny yesterday. Of all the times I've put starters on small block Chevys, I've never had to shim one. And that includes mini starters. I've put a few of them on before too. Never had to shim one. Big block Chevy, sure. That's understandable. That's different. But yeah, I had to take it back off and shim it. So now it sounds like a race car when you're trying to start it. It just sounds like a dump truck once it gets running. So yeah, did I follow the instructions and check it for clearance first before I installed it? Of course not. Here's a little quick update on McNugget for you. So David brought me something. He said that this hole needed to be filled, and he even decorated it for me. I just got a cut to fit. Come off a dump truck or something. Nice addition. So that's it for the update video on the 55. Thanks for watching and subscribing and commenting. We'll see you guys next time. By the way, the next video that you see on this car will probably be at the track. I believe I'm going to take it and run it with this piece of crap motor in it, just for the heck of it. Don't expect much out of it at all, so, but I don't know why I want to do it. I just do.